It's time now for Voices of the Region. Each week we hear from an area journalist about stories they're following. This time our guest is Aaron Brown, author and columnist from Itasca County, who spoke with us using his phone during a power outage.
Yes, we had a very active and busy primary election here on the Iron Range. There were two big races that I think were interesting to follow. The first was the DFL primary in the Senate District 7 race. Ben DiNucci was the DFL and union endorsed candidate facing Kim McLaughlin, who works actually here at Minnesota North College, where I am in Hibbing. And so there was a very close race there, and it wasn't necessarily predicted to be so. Kim McLaughlin jumped in the race late on the last day of filing, and it wasn't clear exactly what her outcome would be. So it ended up being much closer than people predicted. Just 41 votes between DiNucci and her. DiNucci did win the election. Ben DiNucci really relied on his support in Itasca County. Kim McLaughlin actually carried St. Louis and Aiken County portions of the district, including big wins in Hibbing and Chisholm. So it just shows there is a close race there, and maybe some sorting out for the DFL to do as they're in this new era of a more competitive election. Now Ben DiNucci will face Rob Farnsworth in the general election. Rob Farnsworth, the Republican from Hibbing. That's expected to be one of the close races in this control of the state Senate. Also an interesting race, Senate District 3, which is the big Arrowhead district, including Cook Lake and parts of St. Louis and Koochiching County, currently held by Senator Tom Bach, who's retiring. There was a Republican primary, which is not something we normally follow closely on the range, but Republicans are now competitive here. In fact, I would estimate it's about a 50-50 region, as near as I can tell. And in the Republican primary, Babbitt Mayor Andrea Zupancic was facing former Iron Mining Association lobbyist and director Kelsey Johnson, kind of a style contest between Johnson, the kind of the inside media friendly type of candidate, and Zupancic, the local elected official. Zupancic, probably best known as one of the mayors that endorsed Donald Trump in the 16 and 20 presidential races. Well, Zupancic won big, actually. It wasn't that close, and maybe that's the interesting part of the news. Zupancic carried big, and she'll face Grant Haushold in the DFLer, and that's going to be one of the other close races for control of the state Senate in Minnesota. So two very close races, both centered on the Iron Range. The last time we talked, U.S. Steel had announced a $150 million investment in a direct reduced pellet plant on the range. It was either going to be in Mountain Iron or Keewatin. Now we know it's going to be in Keewatin. It'll be at Keewatin Taconite. They're already hiring and planning, working on the expansion of the taconite plant to include a different kind of pellet, a pellet that feeds into electric arc furnaces that is part of the direct reduced iron process. It's a complicated multi-step process, but just know that they're making higher grade iron pellets as part of futuristic, newer forms of making steel. Good news for the region in that it involves there being more value added iron production and new age stuff that's going to help keep some of these facilities open. But it's only the beginning. There's a lot of new investment, new technology that could bring the region even further along, and I guess we'll wait and see how these efforts go. The Canisteo Pit is an existential threat to the city of Beauvais and Marble and some of the other small towns on the western Mesabi. And all you have to know about it is that it's a former iron mine that filled up with water, as they do, because they're pumped out when they're mined, and then the water comes back in. And when the town was built along with the mine, the town might find itself near the water table. And so this is what's been the problem at the Canisteo. And there was mitigation efforts that were funded before, but now $710,000 of Iron Range Resources money, that's iron mining taxation money for the most part, is now going into pumping out the pit again to try to make a permanent solution. That's good news. That starts October 1st. Certainly, if you have a basement in the city of Beauvais, you're happy about that. But really, the thing to follow, I think, is that these kinds of pits are all over the range. And as mines close, as one day they all will, the region has to face the fact that it's got to do a lot of pumping. Right now, mines do the pumping, but as the water fills in, there are going to be roads and towns and public things that are going to be threatened by the water. So this is something that you really need to follow to see, where the future of the region goes and what kind of infrastructure work might need to be done.